There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't look dramatic. No breakdowns, no visible crisis, no obvious reasons for people to ask, "Are you okay?" Because from outside, you still look fine. You are still delivering, still showing up, still solving problems, still being the person everyone trusts. But inside, you are tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. Not because life is hard, but because somewhere along the way, you became the person everyone depends on. And now you don't know how to stop. Welcome to Lead Your Path, a podcast about the inner side of leadership. I'm your host, Swagata Palharia, and here we explore the mindset shifts that shape how we perform, grow, and lead. Today, we are talking about the hidden cost of always being the reliable one. Because being dependable is a strength until it quietly becomes your identity. And once that happens, rest start feeling like guilt. Let me tell you about someone. I'll call her Ria. Ria was the person everyone trusted. At work, she was known as the one who could handle anything. Difficult clients, send Ria. Delayed project, Ria will fix it. A tense meeting, she will calm it down. Her manager trusted her. Her team leaned on her. Her client specifically asked for her. She had built a reputation most people spend years chasing: reliable, capable, calm under pressure. And honestly, she was proud of that. She had worked hard to become that person. But slowly, that strength became a silent burden. Her calendar was always full. People stopped asking if she had the capacity. They assumed she would manage. She stopped saying no because saying no felt like disappointing people. She stopped resting because there was always something more urgent to address. And the strange part, no one noticed that she was struggling because competence hides exhaustion beautifully. One day, during a conversation, she said something that stayed with me. She said, "I don't think I'm tired from work. I think I'm tired from being everyone's backup plan." That sentence stayed with me because so many people live inside that sentence. Not just at work, at home too. You are the one who remembers everything, the one who manages difficult conversations, the one who keeps peace between people who won't speak, the one who gets called when something goes wrong, the one everyone says, "Thank God you're here." At first, it feels good because being needed feels like being valued. It feels like trust. It feels like importance. It feels like proof that you matter. But over time, being needed and being valued start becoming the same thing. And that confusion is where exhaustion begins. Because now your worth feels tied to your usefulness. You stop asking, "Do I want to do this?" and start asking, "What happens if I don't?" That is where reliability stops being strength and starts becoming pressure. Because now you are no longer choosing, you are performing. Performing strength, performing calm, performing emotional stability, even when you feel none of it. So, here's what happens next: you become excellent at carrying invisible weight. You carry the emotional temperature of every room. You notice everyone else's stress. You adjust yourself to keep things smooth. You absorb tension before it becomes conflict. You solve problems before people even notice them. And people praise you for that. They call you mature. They call you strong. They call you dependable. They call you a natural leader. But very few ask, who carries you? That's where resentment begins. Quietly, not loud anger. Just small thoughts like, why am I always the one adjusting? Why does everyone assume I'll handle it? Why do I feel guilty for needing space? And then comes the hardest question: if I stop doing all this, will people still stay? That question hurts because it touches something deeper. Not productivity, belonging. Because many people who became the reliable one learned very early that recognition was connected to performance. You be helpful, be responsible, be dependable, and people will notice you. You deliver results, solve problems, stay available, people will trust you. So, over time, achievement starts feeling like identity. You begin to believe your value comes from how much you can handle. And over time, that pattern follows you into your professional life. You become the person who takes on more, the one who steps in before being asked, the one who solves problems before they become visible. You build your reputation for being dependable, efficient, always available. But somewhere in that process, performance stops being something you do and starts becoming who you are. And that is where real exhaustion begins. And here's the truth most people avoid. Sometimes reliability is not leadership. Sometimes it is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of disappointing people, fear that if you stop holding everything together, everything will fall apart. But here's the reality: sometimes things don't fall apart, sometimes people adjust, sometimes the world keeps moving even when you stop overcarrying it. That realization can feel both terrifying and freeing. I remember asking Ria, what would happen if you stopped rescuing everyone? She laughed first, then she got quiet. And finally, she said, I think I have to find out who I am when I'm not being useful. That is the real work. Not productivity hacks, not better planning, identity work. Because if your self worth is being built on being needed, the rest will always feel unsafe. Boundaries will feel selfish, and asking for help will feel like failure. But it isn't. In fact, real leadership often begins the moment performance ends. The moment you say, I can't take this on right now. I need support. This matters to me too. That doesn't work for me. Those sentences sound very simple, right? But for someone who has built their life being reliable, they can feel revolutionary. Because boundaries are not about pushing people away, they are about coming back to yourself. They are the difference between helping and disappearing inside helping. And this matters. Being dependable is not the problem. Dependability is a strength. It builds trust, it creates consistency, it helps team feel safe. It is one of the foundations of strong leadership. But when dependability comes at the cost of your own well being, that strength turns into silent exhaustion. If your peace depends on never disappointing anyone, it is not peace. It is performance. So, what do we do? Start small, not dramatic, small. Pause before saying yes. Notice where your yes comes from. Is it generosity or fear? Practice one honest sentence, not 10, just one. Like, I need time to think about it. I can't commit to this right now. I would love to help, but I don't have the capacity. Watch how uncomfortable that feels. Stay there. Because discomfort is often where new boundaries begin. And ask yourself, if I stop being useful for a while, who would still stay? That question changes everything because it separates connection from dependency. Real connections, real relationships survive honesty. They do not require exhaustion. You do not need to earn respect through overfunctioning. You do not need to prove your worth through constant availability. You do not become less valuable when you stop carrying what was never yours to carry. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is disappoint expectations that were built on your silence. Sometimes the next level of leadership is not becoming strong, it is becoming honest. Honest about your limits, honest about your needs, honest about the fact that even strong people need somewhere to rest. So, if you have been feeling tired lately, not physically but emotionally, ask yourself, am I exhausted because life is heavy? Or because I have made my life and myself responsible for everyone else's comfort? That question changes everything. Because awareness is where healing starts, and boundaries are where self respect begins. If this episode stayed with you, share it with someone who is always holding more than they ever say. Because sometimes the people who seem the strongest are simply the people who forget they were allowed to put the weight down. And maybe today that person is you. Until next time, lead your path.